Before this video even begins to unfold, I want you to consider something quietly devastating. What if the life you've been living, the striving, the worrying, the defending, the becoming, was built upon a fundamental misunderstanding of who you truly are? Not a small misunderstanding, but one so deep, so woven into your daily movements, that once you see it, everything familiar will begin to dissolve like mist in morning light. Now, let us step gently into the heart of this inquiry. Every morning, when you wake, you resume a performance so automatic you seldom notice it occurring. You slide back into the costume of your personality, your name, your roles, your preferences, your fears. You check yourself in the mirror, not only to see whether your hair is out of place, but to reassure yourself that the someone you believe yourself to be is still intact. Yes, there I am, the one I must protect, the one I must improve, the one I must present to the world. You spend enormous energy maintaining this character, polishing its image, defending its boundaries, worrying how it is perceived. You walk around as if carrying a fragile porcelain mask that might crack if handled improperly. And you do this not because you're foolish, but because you were taught to. Society trains us, almost hypnotizes us, to believe we are individual egos living inside small bodies. Separate from everything else, separate from each other, separate from the vastness that gave us birth. But here is the quiet danger behind all of this. The separate self you defend so tirelessly does not exist. You were conditioned to believe in a little me, a lonely pilot inside your skull, looking out through your eyes at a world that appears foreign, unpredictable, perhaps even hostile. And from that belief arises endless anxiety, because this me feels fundamentally vulnerable. A separate me can fail, can be rejected, can lose, can die, and so, from morning until night, you try to secure this fictional entity. Yet what if I told you that the you've been attempting to protect is merely a psychological construct, useful for navigating society, but not fundamentally real? What if you are not an isolated point floating in a vast and indifferent universe, but the entire universe expressing itself at one particular point in space and time? Imagine looking at your hand. You see 5 fingers, and you label them as separate. But in truth, you do not have 5 independent entities, you have one hand. The fingers have no existence apart from the hand no existence apart from the arm no existence apart from the body, and the body has no existence apart from the environment that sustains it, the air, the water, the sunlight, the soil, the stars. Everything interpenetrates everything else. So where exactly do you end and the universe begins? Can you find that boundary? Can you locate the point where you stop and the world starts? You breathe in the atmosphere every few seconds. Without it, you vanish. You consume the earth in the form of food. You drink the rain, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood. They were forged in the heart of ancient stars. You are not in the universe. You are the universe in human form. Just as a wave is the ocean waving, you are the cosmos human-ing. But because you've forgotten this, because you've been conditioned to see yourself as separate, you live in constant tension. A wave fearing its disappearance misunderstands itself. When a wave falls back into the ocean, nothing is lost. In the same way, the essence of what you are cannot be harmed, diminished, or destroyed. It is the very fabric of existence. Yet this illusion of separateness produces suffering. Once you believe you are a small, isolated ego, the world becomes threatening, loss becomes terrifying, the future becomes a problem to solve, the past becomes a burden you drag behind you. You spend your days chasing security, chasing meaning, chasing salvation for an identity that never existed in the first place. And here lies the paradox. The more desperately you attempt to secure the isolated self, the more insecure you feel. It's like trying to hold water tightly in your hand. The tighter the grip, the faster it escapes. You struggle for control, but the more you try to control life, the more chaotic it feels. You chase happiness, but the more fiercely you chase it, the more elusive it becomes. All of this stems from one mistaken assumption, that you are an entity separate from the world, moving through time toward a future where you hope to finally become enough. But the future never actually arrives. What arrives is always now. And the you are trying to improve is nothing more than a collection of thoughts, memories, and stories occurring in this present moment. This is the beginning of the dangerous revelation you are stepping into. Not dangerous in the sense of harm, but dangerous because once you see through the illusion, you cannot unsee it. The game changes, the priorities rearrange themselves, and a new kind of freedom, one that was always here, waiting, begins to shimmer at the edge of your awareness. In the next section, we will explore what happens when the self you've been protecting dissolves, and what remains when illusion falls away. Now, let us move deeper into the very machinery of the illusion. Because once you begin to question the existence of this separate self, something extraordinary starts to happen. You begin to see not only that the self is a mental construct, but that time itself, the stage upon which this self performs, is equally constructed. This is where things become profoundly unsettling for many people. Because time is the invisible framework around which the entire drama of becoming is organized. You were taught that you have a past behind you, a long trail of memories, choices, mistakes, successes, and a future ahead of you, filled with hopes, fears, ambitions, and plans. And here, in the thin sliver called the present, you are supposedly traveling from one to the other. But look closely, has the future ever arrived? Really examine this. Every time you say, tomorrow, tomorrow shows up as today. Every time you say, next year appears as now. The future is a thought, a shimmering mirage on the horizon of consciousness. You never experience the future, you only experience your thoughts about the future, which occur now. And the past? The past is nothing more than memory, and memory is nothing more than present moment thinking. You cannot step into the past. You cannot revisit it. You can only think about it right here, right now. The past exists only as a story you tell in the present. And like all stories, it can be edited, reframed, dissolved, or abandoned entirely. So here is the dangerous realization. You have been sacrificing the only moment that exists for two things that do not exist at all. You give away the immediacy of life, the texture, the sound, the sensation, the movement of this present moment, for the sake of a phantom past and a hypothetical future. You trade reality for imagination. You miss life while preparing to live it later. You're always rehearsing. I'll be happy when. I'll feel whole once. I'll finally relax after. But have you noticed that the after never arrives? Have you noticed that every time you achieve a milestone, your mind immediately creates the next one? Happiness remains dangling in front of you like a carrot tied to your own forehead. No matter how fast you run, you never catch it because you're the one holding the stick. This is the tragedy of the modern human condition. We believe life is a journey with a destination, a mountain with a summit, a test we must pass, a mission we must accomplish. But life is more like music than like a task. You don't listen to a symphony in order to reach the final note. If you did, the first thing you would ask is, why not just play the last chord and be done with it? The value of music is in the unfolding, the dance of one note into the next. Life is the same. Its meaning is not in some distant point on the horizon. Its meaning is in the experience of being alive, moment by moment. But you've been trained, conditioned, to ignore the moment. You were taught that the present is merely a stepping stone towards something more important. You were taught that now is insufficient, incomplete, unworthy, unless it leads to some future payoff. This conditioning is not accidental. It serves a purpose. A society built on consumption depends on your dissatisfaction. If you felt complete right now, if you truly felt whole, what would happen to the economy? What would happen to industries built on convincing you that you need to be prettier, healthier, more successful, more productive, more admired? If you were content, half of civilization's machinery would grind to a halt. Advertisements rely on creating a gap between who you are and who you think you should be. Social comparison depends on you believing others have already achieved the life you're still chasing. Education molds you to strive, compete, achieve, and the culture at large whispers constantly in your ear, you are not enough yet. Just a little more improvement, then you'll be worthy. But improvement is a treadmill. You run and run, but the scenery doesn't change. You exhaust yourself trying to become someone who already exists in your imagination. Here's the true danger. Self-improvement often reinforces the very illusion that causes your suffering. Because who is trying to improve whom? The ego is trying to fix the ego. The character you play is trying to rewrite its own script. It's like a wave trying to make itself more wave-like. Absurd. The wave is already the ocean. There is nothing to add. And yet you spend so much of your life trying to add something to yourself. Knowledge, success, confidence, beauty, significance. But these attempts to improve only deepen the belief that you are fundamentally lacking. What if you're not lacking anything? What if nothing needs to be added? What if you've spent your whole life trying to solve a problem that never existed? When you stop identifying with the stories of past and future, a strange thing happens. The present moment no longer feels like a thin sliver. It expands. It becomes spacious, alive, vibrant. It becomes the only place where life actually occurs. And in that presence, the illusion of the separate self begins to loosen. You start to notice that awareness, the thing that is listening to these words right now, has no age, no name, no boundaries, no past, no future. It simply is. It is not something you have, it is what you are. And that realization, once it flowers within you, begins to undo lifetimes of confusion. So let us continue, because now we approach one of the most unsettling truths of all. The more you try to control life, the more life slips out of your hands. This is not a philosophical metaphor, it is a direct observation. It is something you can verify by looking honestly at your own experience. You have been taught that control equals safety. Control equals success. Control equals stability. But have you noticed that the more tightly you grip the steering wheel of life, the more the vehicle swerves? It's as if life resists your attempts to dominate it, as if the very act of grasping creates turbulence. Trying to control life is like trying to hold water in your fists. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. Look at anxiety. What is anxiety except the mind's attempt to control the future? You worry, you anticipate, you picture worst-case scenarios. Believing this mental rehearsal gives you power. But worry doesn't prevent disaster, it manufactures it internally. You live the catastrophe in your mind 1,000 times, even if it never happens once. Look at regret. Regret is your attempt to control the past, to rewrite something that is no longer available for editing. You replay events, conversations, mistakes, imagining new outcomes, believing this internal rewriting somehow fixes something. But it doesn't. Regret keeps you chained to a moment that no longer exists. And look at perfectionism. Perfectionism is the attempt to control the present, to make every detail align with an idealized image of how things should be. But perfectionism never produces peace, it produces paralysis. You freeze because nothing feels good enough. Control is the ego's final addiction. It promises safety and delivers exhaustion. The irony is almost comedic. If it weren't so painful, you are trying to control a life that has never once been under your control. You didn't choose your birth. You didn't choose your parents. You didn't choose your childhood environment. You didn't choose the wiring of your brain, the chemistry of your body, the shape of your face, the thoughts that pop into your mind, the emotions that sweep through you, or the sensations that move across your skin. You don't choose your heartbeat. You don't choose your dreams. You don't choose the next thought that will appear in your mind. Life is happening. Just as waves happen. Just as wind happens. Just as galaxies happen. And yet, somehow, you were taught to believe that you are the commander of this unfolding universe. That you must manage, regulate, and plan every moment. That you are responsible for engineering the perfect life. This belief is not only false, it is crippling. Here's the danger. Your entire identity is built upon this illusion of control. You think, if I stop controlling, everything will fall apart. But the truth is the opposite. Things fall apart because you are trying to control them. Life functions best when you stop interfering. A flower does not bloom by force. A tree does not grow by discipline. A river does not flow by planning. Everything in nature unfolds effortlessly, except the human ego, which insists on effort, force, and struggle. We are the only species that wakes up and immediately believes something is wrong with reality that must be fixed. Now, once you see the absurdity of this, a great relaxation becomes possible. Not laziness, not passivity, but surrender, not in the sense of giving up, but in the sense of ceasing to fight with what already is. Surrender is not defeat. Surrender is alignment. It is the recognition that life knows how to live itself far better than your thinking mind knows how to manage it. And this brings us to another dangerous realization. There is no self inside you who is orchestrating your life. No little operator pulling levers. No inner CEO making decisions from a control room behind your eyes. Decision-making happens, but no decider exists. Thoughts arise, but no thinker can be located. Feelings surge, but no feeler can be found. The self is a useful convention, like a profile on a website. But it is not an entity. It is not a thing. It is a process, a pattern, a verb. You are not a noun. You are a happening. You are not the dancer. You are the dancing. And once this is truly understood, the pressure to improve yourself dissolves. Because improvement implies a flawed entity striving toward completion. But if the entity itself is fictional, what exactly are you trying to fix? You are trying to repaint a mirage. You are polishing a shadow. You are disciplining a dream character. Self-improvement, despite its good intentions, often strengthens the illusion of the self. It reinforces the idea that I, this fragile, separate entity, must become better, smarter, stronger, more successful. But what if the real freedom lies not in improving the ego, but in seeing through it? When you touch this truth even for a moment, you feel a strange lightness, a sense of relief, as if you've put down a backpack you didn't realize you were carrying. Because suddenly the weight of becoming disappears, and only being remains, only presence, only the simple, luminous fact of awareness. And awareness needs no improvement. Awareness is already perfect, not in a moral sense, but in an existential sense. It simply is, flawlessly. When you stop struggling to become, you begin to experience what it means to be. And this is the greatest danger of all to the society you live in. A person who is rooted in being is unmanageable, uncontrollable, unmarketable. Why? Because they are no longer afraid. And once fear dissolves, you cannot be manipulated. So let us walk together into this final, and perhaps most liberating, truth. It may disturb you at first, because it shakes the foundations of everything you've believed about life, purpose, fear, mortality, and what it means to exist. But if you stay with me, if you let these words land not just in your mind but in the deeper silence of your being, something extraordinary may happen. We ended with fear of change, fear of insignificance, fear of letting go of control. But beneath all these fears lies the greatest fear of all, the fear of death. And unless we confront this fear directly, every spiritual insight remains incomplete. You see, nearly everything you do, your striving, your planning, your obsession with the future, your desperate attempts to secure yourself, is rooted in this one primal belief, that you are a fragile, temporary entity struggling to survive in a hostile universe. Your ego clings to life as if it owns it. It clings to identity as if identity were eternal. It clings to possessions, relationships, achievements as if they can shield it from impermanence. But let me tell you something astonishing. The one who is afraid of dying is the one who has never truly lived. Why? Because the real you, the awareness that hears these words, is not born, does not age, and cannot die. Yes, the body will perish, the personality will dissolve, the story of you will come to its natural end. But the awareness in which all of this appears, where is its beginning? Where is its boundary? Has there ever been a moment in your life when awareness was absent? Even in sleep, awareness remains. Dreams unfold, thoughts wander, sensations arise, and deep sleep, pure, silent presence without form, continues without interruption. You have mistaken yourself for the content of awareness, not the field itself. The body is like a wave. Awareness is the ocean. When a wave subsides, the ocean has not lost anything. When the body dies, awareness loses nothing. This is the secret that mystics across cultures have whispered for thousands of years. This is the truth that religions try to point toward but often conceal beneath layers of doctrine. This is the insight that liberates you from the deepest human fear. You are not a separate being who has awareness. You are awareness appearing as a being. Once you see this, you become unafraid, not bravely unafraid, but naturally unafraid, the way a tree is unafraid of autumn, the way the ocean is unafraid of a wave dissolving. And from this understanding, something remarkable happens. Your life stops being a project. Your existence stops being a problem to solve. You stop obsessing over purpose and destiny and whether you're doing life right. Instead, life becomes what it always was, an unfolding, a dance, a movement of the cosmos expressing itself through your eyes, your breath, your laughter, your tears. You stop trying to live, and you simply live. And in that effortless living, you discover something society doesn't want you to know. A person who is no longer afraid of dying cannot be controlled. You become immune to manipulation. You no longer chase meaning, you create it. You no longer seek validation, you radiate it. You no longer cling, you participate. You become, in the most profound sense of the word, free. But this freedom does not make you indifferent or passive. In fact, it does the opposite. Once you stop fighting reality, a new energy appears, warm, spacious, creative. You begin responding to life instead of reacting to it. You begin listening instead of forcing. You begin flowing instead of resisting. Your relationships change because you no longer interact from fear. Your work changes because it's no longer fueled by anxiety. Your choices change because you're no longer trying to escape yourself. You're simply here, fully, presently, intimately. And this, paradoxically, is when life starts to feel richer, not poorer, more vibrant, not dull, more meaningful, not meaningless. Meaning arises naturally when you stop trying to manufacture it. Purpose appears in the living, not in the planning. Fulfillment comes through participation, not pursuit. It is then that you begin to understand a profound and gentle truth. Life is not a test. Life is not a mission. Life is not an exam. Life is art. And you are its current expression. A flower does not bloom to impress the sky. A star does not shine to earn approval. A river does not flow to reach a destination. They exist, beautifully, simply, effortlessly. You too were meant to live this way, not as a slave to fear. Not as a captive of the past. Not as a puppet of thought, but as an emanation of the universe itself. The wave returning to the ocean was never lost. The leaf falling from the tree was never separate from the earth. And you, this momentary expression of consciousness, were never anything other than the universe in human form. Once you see this clearly, you stop asking, "What should I do with my life?" And you begin asking a much more beautiful question. How deeply can I experience the miracle of being alive? This shift changes everything. You breathe differently. You walk differently. You speak differently. The urgency disappears. The tension dissolves. The need to prove yourself evaporates. You finally understand. There is nowhere to arrive. There is nothing to become. There is only this moment, this eternal now, where life is happening through you. As you. And this realization, perhaps more than anything else, is what the world is terrified of you discovering. Because a human being who has awakened to their true nature is the rarest and most powerful force on the planet.